This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from So Let Them Burn, with mentions of Fourth Wing, The Black Witch Chronicles, and The Book of Azrael. For full list, please see show notes.
Everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole.
Can I just say, why are we not talking? Like, maybe I'm just on the wrong side of socials, but why is this book not being talked about more? It should be talked about in, like, every sphere. Dragons. Dragon School, you have dragon riders, you have they have like a telepathy with their dragon. You have co-riders. There is diversity. There is representation. I feel like I'm missing some more, Laura.
Islands, the beach, just fantastic landscapes.
Vessels.
Yeah. Magic, vessels, channeling of ancestors, a discussion of souls. And
sisterhood,
sisterhood, men, like and friends to nothing. Maybe friends to nothing, and really a unique dragon story. Oh my God, we forgot the fact that there are actually like dragon robots. There's huge dragon robots that are piloted by 3 pilots. We got mech suit dragons here, people. We have real dragons and robot dragons. Like, what?
The robot dragons are what they're calling the drakes, right? Like, that's where I was like, wait, was drakes the plural of dragon? I was like, no, because the dragons are still there, so they weren't synonymous with each other. They knew that they were varied, and they were like, the drakes are in the sky, but the dragon just came out. Please. It was so good.
It was so good. It was so good. Because we here, you and I, and editor Sam at ACOFAE, plan the way that we plan. This is the second book that we've read, like back to back, more or less, that has had fucking giant robots. And it is just like
unexpected too. It's not like we sought these out. Like, this is kind of what I don't want to say fell into our lap, but in a way, going in blind was so fun yet again.
Yes, I went in blind for sure. I only read the back. Jess, you went in blind, yeah?
Yeah, I read the back because I started reading the first chapter and I go, let me just understand where my mind is supposed to be, because I feel like I don't know where my mind was, honestly. I feel like I've been between a lot of different things. So having like very little bit of knowledge from the back where you knew it was about sisterhood, that was really kind of the core of it.
Yep. And the cover is banging. And beautiful. I did this through audio. The audio experience is also banging, and it is short. I did this at 2.0, and it's like 5-something hours. Really lovely, and would recommend. Jess, would you recommend this before we dive into this? I am just so excited. It's dragons and robots.
I know. I would absolutely recommend this. I actually, and we'll probably mention it again at the end of this episode, but there's already a second book confirmed. So not only would I recommend, I would also reread again before the second book comes out. And it's helpful because it is short. You don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have this time. It's like because I also co-read this at some points. So I had the ebook copy from the library, and it was less than 400 pages. So like, again, if you're trying to keep yourself to pace, or if you're trying to, the audio version was super helpful. Yeah, I don't know if it's a confirmed trilogy, but we got a follow up, and the way this ends gets you just as excited for it too.
Yeah, just like super stoked. Just awesome.
Hey, how many times did you read this? 2.5?
2.5 because we have been very lucky to have had to read a bunch of physical books recently.
Right.
And to kind of counterbalance that, I needed some sort of audio. So I started this with audio a couple of weeks ago. And I was just like, and I was casually listening to it. And then I went back and like really paid attention. I was just like, wow, this is so fun.
So now that you have that 2.5 background, can you confirm or deny? Does this book meet the pattern?
It does meet the pattern. It meets the pattern to my satisfaction in chapter 1, but it does go through everything by chapter 5, which is, of course, our pattern kind of limitation, I guess. But by chapter 5, we're running into Reeves' dad, which is like the like
commander.
Linchpin of the plot. So like that's all of it by chapter 5. So yes, it does follow the pattern. But before I tell you exactly how, just tell me who these people are.
Yeah, so we have some of the key people, I guess we can highlight. We have Alara, who is sisters with Farron. Farron is the child in Empyrean, which the audio says Empyrean or Empyrean, and it threw me off because I was like, wait, we've been hearing it another way in the other audiobook that we read with dragons. But it's Empyrean. She's the child Empyrean. She was basically, when she was 12, begging for anyone to help her and, win, because there's a war going on in the islands, and 3 gods answer. They bestow their power upon her, and she could also kind of see through people's bullshit too, as part of the power. And those 3 gods are Mala, Irie, and Obi. And I said Alara, which is her older sister. There's also Signy, who winds up being a co-rider with Alara. There's Reeve, who is Alara's best friend, you can say, and also in love with Farron. Zephyra, she's the only dragon's name that I remember, but is the dragon that Alara and Signy are bonded to. There is also this, what did you say? Sinister. He is a sinister character, Gael Soto. And then we have Commander Warwick, who is Reeves' dad, and his wife is a director, Director Warwick, who oversees the dragon school. And we have Aveline, who is the queen of the island Irie. San Irie that they're on.
Yes.
Who was colonized by Reeves' family and his people.
Yes, the Langlish.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Nice. Right. Nice.
Cool. We got it.
And Reeves' mom also is in charge of the prison too, which is like also upsetting because of if Reeve ever gets like arrested, he's going to her jail. So,
and that's where currently Signy's father is.
Yes. Yes. Oh, good. Good plot. Good plot stuff. Okay. This plot is divided into like before and after, more or less. It's like everything happens and then everything splits. We have 2 different stories. Everything comes together again and then we split again. I think it's great. I will tell everyone now, the thing happens.
Which is that if the thing happening, is that what sold you on this, or you were already sold on the book whether the thing happened or not?
I was already sold on the book whether the thing happened or not. But I will tell you that the second time through, reading it was like watching an episode of BoJack where you're just like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's all going to be awful. It's all terrible. You're starting the end of the world.
Well, and that's what it is. That's the whole thing, because Sisterhood So Strong is fair. Alara is essentially possessed. She wants to be in the military. Specifically, she wants to be a dragon rider so bad. She tries to bond with a dragon. that doesn't happen.
A
drake, sorry. So she wants to be a drake rider. Thank you for clarifying that, because that is so important. So she doesn't bond with this drake, and she's so sad. And everyone's like, well, if you really want to fight, do you really want to be a drake rider, or do you really want to just like fight for the government? Because like we still have a place for you. And all of that to say, she eventually bonds with an actual dragon. And that first time she's bonding, she's kind of overwhelmed with all the dragon emotions and all the bonding experience combined, and gets overpowered. And Farron uses her child Empyrean power to take I don't want to say take her down, but like take her out of that trance. And I forget where I was going with this. There was a reason.
Well, you're telling me about the trance and our dragons. Let's circle back to Dead Egg, because Dead Egg is essentially the focus of our plot.
Because that's a location. I think we should Dead Egg is a place. It is a city. It is kind of where everything starts. Everybody keeps going back. I mean, I guess to what you said, the pattern, because this is where it starts, and this is where we're at the end of the book too.
Everybody keeps going back to Dead Egg because it is where Farron is from, but also coincidentally, there's a petrified dragon egg that is also in the center of town. It emits brimstone. That's not important. We don't care about that. Why does it do that? Not important. No. And that's where our story starts with Farron and losing a foot race to a childhood bully at school. And she calls on the gods to help her cheat. And that introduces us to her character, which is like she will do anything to win. She will abuse power a little bit. And she says over and over again that she is a consistent liar. And that she will lie.
She's like, she'll say you can't bullshit a bullshitter. She's very proud of that. I mean, even with when she won against the bully by cheating, he calls her out on it. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then when he's alone, she goes, but you can never prove it. Which is cheating, right? No. But also, you're a bully. I feel like we can make some exceptions sometimes. He's a huge ass, and then he dies later. But that's neither here nor there. Right here is the pattern that I will tell you that checks out. Of course, we're in Dead Egg. We leave Dead Egg, come back, leave, come back, and then everything happens in Dead Egg. But also, the things about Farron. Farron says, nothing that I do ever really has consequences. Like, everybody sees me as a saint. Like, I get away with everything. Like, life is good. Whatever. There's a sense of entitlement that comes with her, and everybody treats her as such, too. Oh, my gosh, you're the child Empyrean. Oh, my gosh, what an honor. And you see that later in the book where they can be mad at Reeve. But then when they see Farron pull up, they're like, oh, hey, we weren't bothering him. On the flip side, sometimes that doesn't go so well for Reeve.
Yeah. And this inner dialogue of well, nothing that I do or lie about is really that serious. I can use the gods to get out of anything, whatever. Also, the gods are still around 5 years after the war. That's weird, but
yeah, because why isn't anybody asking why are you still lingering? I thought we were over. What is happening here?
And Farron's maybe they just want to chill and hang out with a teenager, whatever. I'm not going to think about it.
Calm down, Drake.
I know, right? Because Farron says that the gods always come when she calls. That's how it always was. That's how it always will be. And she can use them, despite their disapproval, to do things. And she's cool with that.
How does that work? Because they kind of relinquished all of their authority to her from the war that even if they disapprove, it's not like we disapprove, we're not going to lend you your powers. Like she already has their powers in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like she already has them. She's just like, hello, activate, please, right now. And then they're like, all right, here, we like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's bullshit. Why are you doing this for? But it's not like, yeah, they're not like revoking it would be like a thing. But yeah, also Farron does say that she's like kind of lonely, that like everybody, because of her like saintly like status and her history of helping everybody win the war and declare independence and fight the dragons from Langley, she doesn't really have friends, and she really only has her sister. And her sister, who is older, Alana, has her own friends and her own dreams and ambitions, just as you told us. So it is then her chapter that we go to where we learn about summoning, which I thought was just like a really great piece of story and magic here. Jess, what do you think about the summoning aspect of this story?
The summoning of the ancestors. I thought it was beautiful. You know what it also reminded me of is Legendborn, where you get to speak with your ancestors and just kind of having that insight, and that there was still a connection there, just to feel like you're also not so alone, or hearing family stories and understanding that, you know, it was something special that I wonder, I think like just folklore that transcends different generations and different communities, or, you know, you always hear like different variations of folklore. It was something that made me want to look into it more.
Yeah.
Like those folklores in other cultures.
It was very like lovely to think about, like, well, you can visit the souls of the people that you were very close to. You can have like conversations with them or like feelings with them.
Because she has her one aunt that she's super close to. Yeah, I thought that was
just really nice. And so the people of San Irie have this magic they're summoning, and they use it for like religious purposes, or like for weapons, or to like do things like make calls and stuff. Like, I mean, that's fun. But just as you said, like, Alara's a gifted summoner. She wants to join up, and she wants to be a Drake rider. As you said, she is not chosen, and thus begins Alana's story of like, did I join for the wrong reasons? There are lots of different ways to help people. And that's kind of like what happens with her story, which I find is really great. Also, I love this platonic friendship between her and Reeve. I just really like that. You do not see a platonic friendship very often. Of course, Alana is a lesbian, and she ends up having like a little she's got a little romance. We love that. But the friendship that she has with Reeve is great. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think there was just so many different levels to it. And how that relationship with Reeve's relationship with Alara also impacted his relationship with Farron, where Farron constantly didn't like him, but he was like, I never not liked you. You were Alara's little sister. You were Farron. And she eventually kind of wraps her mind around the fact that he likes her for her good and bad. She's like, he likes me for me. Exactly. Because he's like, he's seen me do some shitty things and say some shitty things to him, and he still wants to be around me. And I like the levels of the friendship that he eventually has with Farron, and the ones that he has with Alara. I love Alara constantly thinking of other people, because that's something that Signy says is like, we're supposed to be enemies, and you're thinking about helping all these other people. And I think someone we loosely introduced earlier was Aveline, who's the queen. And Aveline grew up with Farron and Alara, because they just thought she was like this other girl on some farmland down the street from them. She was raised as such, all to find out that she was kind of in, what's that, like witness protection in a way. Her parents weren't her parents. She found out that they were actually just like guards that her parents had. And so when it was time for this war, she was called up to act on her queenly duties. And Farron has a big problem with Aveline because she goes, I knew you when you were cursing like a sailor, and now you're all prim and proper and snobby, and you're acting like my mother didn't take care of you and raise her as her own. Like, she's very jaded, rightfully so, towards Aveline, that's Farron, but Alara is very much, she understands, she might not like it, but she understands the bigger picture, because when Aveline calls to her and she's like, you don't think I don't know what's going on in my own kingdom? You don't think I knew that you wanted to be a Drake rider? Look, I'll tell you what, shit's going down. I don't know what, but I need you and your sister to be like on my side for a hot second, and then we'll go and explore how you want to serve me and like our island.
And well, you just summed up everything just so perfectly with the queen. And I also want to point out that Aveline also resents Farron a bit, because she does feel that like Farron came and like took her away from her perfect life and like thrust this responsibility on her that she did not ask for. And if Farron had just like fucked off and left her alone, she would have been happy on the farm. But instead, Aveline is subjected to like all of this ridicule and all of this self-doubt and all of these like high level politics that she was not really raised in. So people assume that she just like can't do shit. And just as you're saying, like summoning everybody to the capital, because there is going to be a summit. So Aveline shows up at Farron's house and is like, yo, call in your sister, call in Reeve. They're summoning, playing with their friends, whatever. Let's go to the capital in my big flying Drake nobility, because the people are a little unruly, Farron, and I think a united front with everybody would be rad to help me secure my throne, because there's more dragons showing up for the summit than I anticipated, and I fucked up a little bit. There's a loophole, I didn't see it, and now we're here. And there's also dragon school students attending for like class credit, which is so fun.
It's like, what were we talking about a while ago? Maybe it was our Megan Fox or pop culture poetry episode. What were they called? Cultural credit.
Cultural credits. Like, oh my gosh. I love that little detail. They're like, yeah, like they're taking a diplomacy class. Like, yeah, of course they're here. I was like, oh my God. Of course they're there. Yeah.
But you know, and it's like, and I think Alara makes a comment about Aveline at some moments where when Aveline can be vulnerable, when she cannot shoot the shit, and she can just be casual with him, or with both her and Farron. Alara at one point, she's like, I was in love with this girl for 4 years until I found out basically who she was, because she's also because Aveline's 4 years older than Alara, and Alara and Farron are only like a year and a half apart. So Farron was 12 when she became Imperium, and Alara was 13. So Aveline was like 17. So now Alara is 18 and Aveline is 22. It's these moments when she's like, I kind of fucked up. Here's kind of the lowdown. This is what's going on. I need you to, she's like, this is the person that I liked. This is the person that I had this, I fell in love with at 13. I don't see her like that anymore, but this is the person that so many other people would like and respect if she let people see that side of her.
Mm-hmm. I like all these characters. I like this book a lot, but I like these complicated dynamics between things and the relationship between Aveline and Alara too, because it goes from like that crush, that unrequited crush, to like this sisterhood where Aveline just starts like venting about like politics, and is just like, you know, and she stops herself. She's like, and then Alara's like, you know, does she think she said too much, but her need to just like get this off her chest was like more important. It's just, I love these dynamics. It's just really complicated and lovely. I want to point out, just to make sure that everybody knows, that Reeve is a white boy in an island of dark-skinned people. He stands out as like white as fuck with like blue eyes, I think, and like reddish hair. Yeah. And his father and mother are the leaders of the Langlish like fucking empire that are, and they make a point to say like the Langlish have assimilated a lot of cultures. So like being white as fuck is not like a universal indicator as someone is Langlish, but in their island, it is.
Kind of is. Yeah. I was going to say, like, you feel like they colonized the island. And then they're like, oh, why does everybody hate us? Well, and Reeve says he understands. Reeve carries a lot of guilt, and he understands. He goes, I understand why people hate me, even though I did not make these choices. I'm actually supposed to be dead. Because I was
saved everybody.
He saved everybody, but because of his direct relationship of being the son of the commander, you know, he's treated like the son of the commander, of the person who took over, you know, that colonized their island.
Yep. And it is, so I'm pointing this out because we're in chapter 5 when Reeve and Farron end up in Port Sol, the capital. They're there. They've flown in on nobility. The big dragon robot that we have here. It's awesome. Reeve has not been back to the capital in 5 years, so it's like kind of like different. And Farron has had little looks at Reeve, being like, "Gee, I wonder why he like really pays attention to me all the time. I should ask him about that. Gee, I wonder why he's looking at me. I should ask him about that." Because Farron thinks that Reeve is a spy, like a deep undercover sleeper agent that is working with his father to take down San Irie from the inside. So Farron has that in her head. So when they run into Commander Warwick in chapter 5, it's like, oh, this is weird. This is a weird situation. Like,
and Reeve is also very aware that that people think this of him too, specifically Farron.
Yeah. So when Reeve is getting beaten up in the market a little bit later, and Alara comes in and saves him before all of them are whisked away to the palace, Reeve just takes it. He's like, and then begins Alara's discussion, like internal discussion on souls and grief, and how the people in San Irie still have a very like raw grief after the war that has happened, and how she says like, I'm not one to tell anybody how to process their grief, but like he didn't do, like, come on, basically don't be assholes. He didn't do anything. So, but it is there though, because Alara has like these like feelings of like, oh my God, all this stuff. She hears a voice that says, "Do not cry, little one." What is this? What is this voice? What is it? Who is that?
Because we find it to be Zephyr, her dragon, but she's so like, I didn't call on my ancestors. Who's calling on me? She's very confused, only to get like lured towards the voice and sees that Signy is also there. And she's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. It's like, really, what's going on, everybody? But this like pulling everybody back to the castle. There's a party that night. And this is where we start to really see this like friends to nothing. because Farron has to go to this dignitary, party full of dignitaries and like really work the room, but she's like not great at it. Doesn't want to.
Yeah, and that's part of her expectation as child Empyrean.
Yeah, and so she's there to like reassure everybody because this is a peace summit between Langley and like other empires.
Allies, yeah.
And this little island nation that has just freed itself from the empire, trying to be like, this is us independent, like, fuck you, we're gonna like show strength. So Farron is supposed to do like a magical demonstration here so that she can really display the power, but she's nervous as hell. And this is when she is with Reeve and he tells her all of the gossip in the party. And it is later in the book that Farron refers to this as like, oh, this was a moment we whoosh. Friends to nothing. It was here. Like this was the first thing. And a really sweet moment between the two of them. I really enjoy it because he's like, your sister sent me over here. You look like you're going to like bolt. Like, here's all this funny gossip about all these people so that you see them as people and not some like scary and intimidating. It was nice.
It reminds me of that scene. I mean, I know this isn't a complete reflection of this scene, but in Devil Wears Prada, where Anne Hathaway's character is giving Miranda Priestley all of the tea, like that's so-and-so. He left his wife for her and they're together now and she's pregnant. And I think give me some courtier tea.
I know, right? Like, Farron makes a beach display, and then there's drakes and dragons and peace and power, and then a scream breaks through everything. What is that scream? That scream is Alara, Jess, as you said. Alara succumbing to the fury because Alara is hitting on Sydney Soto, more or less. And they're talking. She's in a red dress.
I don't even think she realizes she's hitting on Sydney so quickly.
No, not at all. She's just like, and she's like, I'm here for like class. Like, oh, okay. But then Alara's outside a little bit later and she hears a voice in the wind. It's calling her to a dragon. This is Zephyra. Okay, Jess, you and I have talked about this. But one of my wishes, if I had wishes, one of them would be to, and this is not ironed out, obviously.
I was going to say, I was like, oh, have you gotten the nuances yet?
No, because I would never give out my specific wish. Okay. But the gist of it would be to be fluent in any language that I see hear, so that I'm able to like speak, understand, write, think, all of it in that language. And to have Zephyra like give this ability to Alara, I'm just like, God damn it.
I know. With no stipulations.
Yeah.
With no stipulations.
Just part of the bond, because that is what has happened. Alara can hear Zephyra's like voice in her head. She goes, Sydney's there. Sydney's like, fuck off. Alara's like, I can understand you. What is going on?
And groans all around because they're
yes,
like, oh man.
But you're from the islands. Like, I'm from Langley. Like, how can this possibly be? Writers from two different countries. Oh my God. But it's not about where you are. It's about your soul. And again, this is the conversation about souls. So Sydney's soul is made of the same as Zephyra's soul, which is made as the same as Alara's soul. The three of them share like the same soul
bond connection. Yeah. Like they're fragments of each other's souls or something. That's why they pull to each other.
Yep. It's lovely, truly. But then Zephyra says, like, she's my writer. Like, she's Irian. Like, I'm sorry. This is just what it is.
If you need any more convincing about, like, this is the book to, like, if we're not selling, like, the description of how the bonds happen, like, read the book. Read the book. Yeah. You'll have so much fun. And the author does a much better job than we're explaining it.
It's so good. It's so good. But Alara is overcome by all these like memories of Zephyra and Sydney and everything. And she starts screaming. And thus we have the Fury, which is where, Jess, as you said, Farron comes out and she hears a voice that says, call to the dragon's soul. Call to the dragon. Come on.
This voice was never Zephyra. It was always Lightbringer / Gael.
It was always Gael.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So because what happens? Farron calls the gods and she starts like drowning the dragon because all she sees is Alara on the ground and the dragon in the sky. Like, you know, what is going on? Is this an attack? So there's like chains going on and she starts drowning. But Alara also starts drowning at the same time.
Because of their bond connection.
Because of their bond. So Farron hears a voice that says, summon the dragon. And then it's like, oh, okay. So she does. And she calls to the dragon's soul. She says, stand down. She connects to its soul and calms it. And then it's like, well, who was that? We know it's Gael, but she doesn't. And she's like, and Farron's a little freaked out. She's like, I didn't call anybody. Who was that?
Yeah, because Farron, I know we touched on Alara having her ancestral call, but Farron has it too, because they're, you know, we'll get to it. There's a point where Farron and Alara are split and they're still able to do their ancestral call with each other.
Yep. Honestly, from here on out, everything goes really quickly. Alara wakes up and Warwick comes in and is like, yo, don't tell anybody, Queen and also Farron. But we have this thing called the Fury. And like it's gonna kill us all and all the riders and all the dragons. And like we can't stop it. And also your sister has entered stage 1 of the Fury. She's gonna die. It is what it is. She's got to come with me back to Langley, back to Hearthstone Academy, so that we can learn about dragons, learn about dragon school, learn how to control this, because there's no cure for this. And Farron is like, the fuck there's not. Like, no, I'm going to talk to the gods. I'm going to get you out of this. BT Dubs, Alara, you're going to be a spy for the queen. BT Dubs. Spy.
I think, and we talked about it before we started recording, is Farron is very much the unhinged second child, loves her sister deeply, and has had really no consequences for her actions and a sense of entitlement. So no matter what was going to be told to her in these situations of there's no choice for your sister's going to eventually die because of this bond with the dragon and their soul connection, like it'll be better for the world. Farron was never going to take no for an answer.
Yeah. Absolutely never.
And Reeve calls her out on it too, which I really like that fight that they have.
Oh my God, it's so good. Okay. So Farron overhears Reeve and his dad like fight because she goes invisible and like stalks their office and is like, well, this is throwing my worldview in askew because he really does fucking hate his dad. Like, they hate each other. Well, that's weird. Shit. Meanwhile, Alara is off flying to another country, and we have a little bit of plot and like world building, which is like really fun. So they've got five classes at Dragon School: history, theology, politics, etiquette, and combat. They have to pass them twice, once individually, once again with their rider. We're going to stay with the Den. The Den is a bunch of dragons that hatched at the same time that consider each other siblings, and then the riders themselves consider each other like a pack. That's very fun. And we get our introductions. That. I know. We get our introductions to like our other characters like Tori and Jesper. And
Jesper is Sydney's brother.
And Sydney's dad, Jess, as you said, is in jail. Her siblings and mother are dead. And Sydney and Alara have had like a contentious relationship, and they kind of like blow up when they finally get into Alara's room. And she's like, what the fuck? Why are you treating me like this? Just answer some goddamn questions.
I know. And she was at the same time, Signy was like, yeah, you think this is bad? You think this is nice? And so then they basically come to an agreement that they will help each other out. They will answer each other's questions. They're basically both on the same team. They also have to trust each other. There's some, I don't want to say rules. Demand seems kind of harsh, but like it is a demands from each side to work with each other. And Alara is also eventually like, fuck, you still have to treat me like shit in front of people. And, you know, like they're like, well, we have to make it believable. But it's through the, I don't want to say banter, but their discourse is Alara's like, she's so infuriating. This is exhilarating. Like she's really, really like, and you also hear her internal thoughts of like, crap. No, I don't want to, but damn, she's gorgeous. So it's really fun, the back and forth that she's fighting with herself on.
It really is. And it's also like Signy has her own like things going on, like with her backstory, which is like so fun too. Okay. Reeve and Farron are taken to Seaview because like they have things to do, right? We're researching. We have things, bonds to break, protesters to quell. Reeve just parks himself in the library and he's like, yo, there has to be something.
Right.
Like you can't be the only one that's ever talked to the gods. Let's do the research. Like let's help. So then we have our plot. Who are dragons? Dragons are beings who escaped from like the plane, that like astral plane where the gods, like all gods, which I thought was nice. Like all gods live there, and dragons escaped, and like that sucks. And it's the gods' responsibility to like bring them back, and they're going crazy because like they're not supposed to be there. Like that's wild. Okay. But also Farron, who hates reading, is like, I'm going to go to the sunroom and talk to the gods. In the sunroom, she can talk to all three gods, Obi, Mala, and Irie. And this is where she tells them everything. And then she tells them about this voice and the fury and Alara and what's happening. And this is where the gods are like, all right.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
They were like, "What? That wasn't us." And this is where we find out some more backstory of the Grey Saint, also known as Gail Soto, because they're also saying, "We didn't help you with your sister out there. What the fuck happened when Alara was on Zephyr and just being overtaken in that bonding moment?" And she goes, "I called for help, and this person answered. Do you want to tell me more?"
And something that I found really interesting, where Farron just like does not beat around the bush. She's like, you know what? He like, who is he? Because like he can interact with like what's going on, like, and like talk to me without channeling. Like, isn't he more powerful than you?
When I heard her say that, because I was driving, I was like, ooh. Because they're like, oh, we're kind of equal. And when she said that he's like more tangible kind of thing, and he was there, and he was when she called all three of them out, I definitely was like, I rewound it in the car. I was like, oh, did she go there? She went there with the gods. But this also goes to her character being unhinged, being entitled, and everything always working out for her, and people and things answering to her demands. She's never heard the word no since she was 12.
And she says no here too, because the gods are like, all right. This is the reason now why we've stuck around for 5 years. It is time, Child Empyrean. You have to save the world from the dragons now. And like the Grey Saint, like he brought him here. He created the fury. This is his bullshit. Like, you have to save the world from the dragons. Oh, and BT Dub's like, you're going to have to kill your sister.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to go. And Farron is like, you know what?
The fuck
no.
It won't. Yeah, exactly.
No, like, eat shit. No. And the gods are like, I mean...
She's so unhinged. I really like Farron. She's a brat. Like, and she's a brat, too. And she recognized, like, by the end of this book, she goes, I really was a terror. Like, I was a brat.
Yeah.
We love growth. The self-awareness is there now.
And Farron also is like, you know what? The gods just use me. Like, they use me. And like, yeah, I use them for like petty bullshit, but like they used me in a war when I was a child. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell is that? And so this Farron has to have this in the back of her head, like the gods, divine beings, want me to kill my sister and save the world from dragons. And I said, fuck you, and have to find another way. Like, that's wild. And she does that. Meanwhile, though, this is like where the plot like really switches. Alara at Dragon School has had her summoning power cut off because she is bonded to the dragon, and that soul, and there's the whole, again, the conversation about souls, about summoning is like splitting of a soul. And because Alara's soul now is complete, she isn't able to split her soul and use her summoning magic. And I just thought that was like really lovely and kind of like, sometimes a triangle is the strongest shape. What can we say?
That's been consistent in when it's showed up in the books we've been reading.
Yeah, it's like, all right. But then there's like a little figurine thing that they use that Farron and Alara use to make like phone calls essentially or whatever. Farron can call in, but Alara can't call out. So they like make arrangements to like call each other every day, and like that's super fun. That's super fun. But then Laura starts like sneaking around trying to learn like school or whatever, and she runs into Sydney, who's like sneaking in the office like trying to find like paper. Like they're just like, oh.
You're like, I know what I'm doing here. What are you doing here? There was both, and they were like, what I
what
have
are
questions,
you doing here?
And why do you have my student records?
Yeah, it's like, why do you have my student record? And Alara's and Sydney's like, I just what
are you doing here?
What are you doing? And then it's like plots. There's plots. Like, and Sydney's like, I don't know. There's something going on. Like, but they didn't give a fuck about you because this is all new. So they didn't know about you. So like, whatever. We can help each other. You're not in on secrets. This
is kind of where they both realize they're kind of on the same side this whole time.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. Jess, we're up to the fight kind of with Reeve and Farron, because Farron's like, I'm bored, and Reeve's like, you're selfish. But before that, we have a little bit of lore drop. We have the Grey Saint being a Langlish god. He's also, these are all his titles, the first rider. And he was the first one.
Empyrean.
Yeah, he's also the first Empyrean. That's revealed later. But here, the story, I'm saying this in quotes because this is revealed a little bit later, is that he was sent to confront the dragon that was terrorizing everybody, and he bonded with it to teach it speech and empathy. But eventually it overtook him and all shit went down, which I found to be very interesting. However, this fight, because Farron is like, oh my God, like, I don't care about any of this. Why does any of this help me? Like, Reeve, this is so boring. And Reeve is like, all right, enough.
I know that we didn't bring it up earlier, but the reason that Farron and Reeve are working together is because Alara is off at Dragon School. So even though she knows prior to all of this that they aren't friends, they aren't friendly, they kind of butt heads, and really it's one-sided because Farron doesn't care for Reeve. She goes, I'm not here. You need to work together to help figure out how I don't die with my dragon bond. So they're working together, and Farron is kind of being whiny and saying she's bored and I don't want to be here, and why are you always at your books? And Reeve, like, to what you said, Laura, she's like, done. This is bullshit, because you're sitting here saying you're bored, you don't know what to do. But your sister would never say that. She would be, if this were you and the roles were reversed, she would be searching high and low, looking through every single text to make this work. and find a loophole, find something, find anything. And Farron is pissed because he's not wrong. And she recognizes that it was truth. And this is where he when he later comes to apologize, I hate that because he wasn't wrong and he shouldn't have been apologizing. And she just throws back at him, all you do is look at your books because that's your comfort. Which, even if it is, he's still getting more information and gaining more knowledge about everything that's going on than she is just saying like, wow, I'm bored. Do work.
And he's taking notes for her. Because he knows that she can't pay attention.
That's so important because then she really, as she should feel, she feels like an ass. He knows that books aren't her thing. So he was simplifying it for her because it can be overwhelming.
Yep. And her reasoning is like, well, he doesn't know that the gods told me to kill my sister. But like, that's not enough because she's like, well, my sister would still like be working. So it is a good fight. And he's like, you're wasting all your potential. Like, what is going on? Like, why are you just, and he's so frustrated with her. And she's like, all right, bet. So she goes out and she calls the saint. She's like, here I am. Help me. And he's like, hello. You need help? I'll help you. All right. Which is kind of creepy, because their relationship starts here, and we'll get into it. But all right, Alara and Sydney, just little lore drops. They're working together because Warwick is planning something. They have to go into town for like personal mentorship, and it's like kind of weird, like at the National Hall. And they have to like tour the labs and like take classes. And this is where we learn that the Grey Saint's like soul was consumed and he became a tyrant after he bonded to the first dragon. And that's where the fury came from because he was overwhelmed. And that's why we have two dragons to kind of like spread out the fury so it doesn't like overwhelm everybody so quickly. Interesting stuff there. Very interesting stuff there. I do like, though, that when Farron kind of is reflecting on the fight that she has with Reeve, she realizes that, like, she likes him. She's like, I feel, like, bad about all this. I really like this kid. Like, that's weird. Because they have that, like, sunrise meeting where they're like, we're not going to, like, talk about it or whatever, but, like, all right. We can hang out and eat fruit, I guess. Like, it's just, she's like kind of hot. Like, okay.
Because this is where she's slowly starting to, this isn't like the full acknowledgement of her romantic feelings for him. She's just acknowledging that he's like, oh, maybe he's more palatable than I thought.
Exactly. She's really... like, yeah, she's like, well, that's all right. So this is when Gael starts showing up without Farron summoning him, and she's like, that's weird.
He's not transparent anymore. He's getting like more, what did she say, thicker? Like he's not as opaque as he was, or he's more opaque and not as translucent, and he's just like thicker and harder, and she's like, this is really weird.
Yeah, she's like, I don't like this. This is really weird. And then he's like, well, I know how to break a dragon bond. You have to have like complete power, like over souls to do that. And like, I can do that. So let's make a deal, right? Like, let's make a deal. Like, I'll help you. We'll help each other. Like, you can free me. I'll free you. We can experience freedom together. And it's like,
I feel like Farron was kind of. Yeah, like I go back to how, because I didn't know how to describe him. And you said it perfectly. Because I said, what are your thoughts on him? And you said he's sinister. And I feel like as things were happening, she wasn't oblivious to it, but it was her love for freeing her sister just kind of consumed her. It didn't matter. But she really was like back and forth with him. She's like, do I trust him? Do I not trust him? How can I trust him? But maybe he's believable. She wasn't sold on him completely either. It was just freeing her sister overpowered every sense of common sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no. And And it's also like this desperation that she has too, to like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
This is actually like, there's doing something. There's results. Like there's tangible results here, even if they're like kind of scary. Like, Alana at school, she's being bullied a lot, but like she's challenged to like a big race by a big bully that she has to do. So that will be fun. My note just says big race. I think that is a really good opportunity for someone to read this book and enjoy the description of this like fun, fast race that's going on. Alana wins, which is amazing. And this is where her den kind of rallies around her. And this is where she kind of starts to get her found family. And Alana struggles with this. She's like, I'm bound to Sydney and this dragon and this den. It's like found family. These people are my enemies, but are they though? They're just like people. But like my soul, what does that say about me if my soul is these people? So again, but she has been there for a month now at this point. And Farron just keeps calling Gael, and he's getting stronger and stronger and almost completely solid. And this is where she's like, he's like really charming. Like that's like kind of weird. And he's like kind of hot. That's kind of weird too. And Farron knows that the Gray Saint was like turned into a despot after he bonded with his dragon, that he kind of went crazy and that his generals tried to overthrow him. But then she's looking at Gael like, but really though?
How did you imagine him in your head? Because I have the weirdest fan cast.
How did I imagine him in Marcel?
Oh. Okay, I was way off.
Yeah, Marcel.
Oh, he's so hot.
Marcel could do the slick, but also sinister and dangerous. I like it. Yep, that's where I was. Okay, where are we? Reeve, in all of his research, realizes that the most famous legend of the Gray Saint is like missing, and that famous legend is that they just disappeared. Like they're in stasis somewhere. They disappeared. They didn't die. They didn't go crazy. They are just like out there somewhere.
That's the legend that everybody talks about, but it's not written, documented anywhere. He goes, but this is the most known one through, storytelling, verbal storytelling. That was the one that put his like hairs on the back of his neck stand up in a way.
Yeah, because he's like, why did they clean the library of this like most common folktale? That's really weird. Then he's like, this is what my dad's doing. This is why my dad is trying to raise the first dragon. This is what he's doing. He's like, this is where all the dots are connecting.
But this isn't even the part where, I guess we can say it now and we'll lead into it. The whole time his dad has been leading into this, because this is the agreement that they made with Gail Soto to say, and this is like unbeknownst to Reeve, because Reeve was sickly and dying with this plague, that his parents said, like, heal our son, we'll do anything. And the agreement was that the anything was to help raise the first dragon.
And there's a bunch of other conditions too. Like all dragons have to have their riders. And that's why, like, the Warwick brought the students to the summit, because he thought, like, maybe there's this, like, a high chance of everybody. So, like, everybody's been in on it. Like, they've been in on it the whole time, which is just, like, fucking wild. Fucking wild. Okay. All right. We are in a situation where Gael is getting stronger, and Farron is starting to realize, like, look, you are lying to me. Like, I'm getting this information from Reeve. I'm collecting all of this information from my sister. I'm putting together. You're trying to raise the first dragon. Like, what do you want? And he's like, I want freedom. Like, that, I'm imprisoned in the empty. This is where we start to get the information about the empty. And he's like, dragons are considered animals by the gods. Like, the first dragon only wants destruction. I want to be free from him. Like, there were all these conditions, but, the Warwick woke me instead of the dragon when he called out, and like all of this stuff. Free me, please, please.
And and when he's sharing this with Farron still doesn't know the reason that Warwick called him as in Gale.
Yep. Yeah, he's like, don't you understand?
Gael.
Like, the dragon made me a villain. Like, I was a hero once. Like, can't you just like separate me from him so I can be on my own? Like, please, all of this stuff. And Farron is like, you're kind of like full of shit, but she does give in eventually and is like, look, I will trust you. I'm going to summon the gods. I'm going to ask them about the empty, right? Like, I'm going to ask. I want to know. And Reva's like, yeah, I will go with you to the temple. And she tells the gods, like, look, the Languish want the first dragon. You know where it is. Where's the first dragon? And the gods are like, we're not going to tell you.
I just think of how the guy, like, if we had all the information at first, we wouldn't be in the situation. Because I think of even in the end where where the gods eventually tell her, oh yeah, Gael was overtaken by the first dragon. Like, why are you not giving me all of the information ahead of everything so we wouldn't be where we are at the end of the book?
Yeah. And because
so it's kind of the gods' faults too.
Yeah, because the gods are like, we're not going to tell you where the first dragon is. We're going to tell you it's your destiny. Only you can destroy the dragons. That's your destiny. And we know that you're talking to him, but like, cut that shit out. And Farron is like, what about what I want? You always use me. What about what I want? What's the point of all of this power that you have given me if I cannot save the one person that I want to save? And the gods are just like, the dragons and the world are the bigger responsibility. You don't get to stop being the chosen one because you don't like the mission. Like, buck up, grin, and bear it kind of situation. And Farron is just like, you know what? Fuck you. And the gods are like, you know what? Fuck you. Because you sound just like the Grey Saint.
But
they're like this.
Yes, they're... Didn't we just have a Romeo and Michelle episode where they're like, I'm the Mary? But, it's funny because when Farron made this begging for anybody to come save them when she was 12 in the middle of the war, she wasn't the only person, the only child, the only family who was begging for this war to end. She just happened to be who they answered the call. Again, and I love where Alara says this at the end of this book too. She's like, you did that. She was a child. Of course she resented you. She was 12 years old. You put her in that because they could have answered anybody's call of saying like, I'll do anything, but they chose the person that they could groom, or so they thought, to their liking.
Yep, I love it.
She was 12 and impressionable. Of course, she didn't
12.
care. Of course, yeah, I'll do anything. Just fucking end this war.
Yeah, they chose a little girl. Like, it. Yeah, you're all.
They're
all right.
to blame. Actually, I didn't think about that until we're talking this out.
Fuck them. Yep, let them burn.
Yes.
Said the thing. Okay, Alara and Sydney are buying cherries and flirting. It's very sweet. But then the Dragon Fury overhead with their professors, Sydney, Zephyra, and Alara work together to save the professors, which is really nice. We love that. It has now been 2 months, which is great. A little lore here.
You love a timestamp.
I love a timestamp. A little lore about dragon relics. They contain like the magic. A lot of the Socho relics have a lot of power. All of this stuff. It's very common to wear dragon relics to help channel magic. All of this little stuff that we have here. Okay. Farron has decided after this fight with the gods to go all in with training with Gael, because why not? Fuck it. fuck it. And she cannot do it. She can't do it. So she needs to get out. She sneaks out. Reeve catches her. They have like a little night market. They have a little fun. They have a little dance.
Dancey dance. And this is where she's like, ooh, yeah. I think I have a thing for Reeve. Farron's thinking this. And they're having a moment. His hand is on her lower back. They're getting close. They're all the touchy-feelies. And there is a moment where she closes her eyes. She is ready for the kiss. And he goes, I'm so glad we're friends.
She's like,
She was like, yeah, me too.
And because she's like, this is where she really sees him, and she's like, wow, I really like what I see. Like he's all of this. He's like done all of this.
And it's him because she's like, I've never been I've been the Empyrean child. Like romance was not even at the forefront of my mind the way it is with like my other peers. But I don't know. Reeve is looking good.
And then, like a little bit later, they're like walking and this is where they have their like, I'm sorry. Like, our fight is like what I have to tell myself. Like friends are impossible. Like it's dangerous. Like you have to know, Farron. I know you don't like me. Like I'm just so sorry. But this is also where those drunk men come out from the bar and they're just like, yo, you want to tussle? Like, I'm done with this, white boy. Like fuck off. I cannot do this. Which is scary because, Farron is trying to call the gods. It's just like not happening. Like she calls them and it's just not happening. So that she's like, all right. You know what? Souls, leave us the fuck alone. You never saw us. Out you go. And she does it. She commands the souls. But then Reeve, who she just has admitted she has a crush to, and they had a moment, had the shit kicked out of him. The absolute piss kicked out of him. So Gael, in a very supernatural Sam moment, is possessed and body walked, like a puppet. Back to the palace to get
like the infirmary or something.
Yeah,
right?
To get medical attention. Because what the hell? He's possessed, and the doctors are like, "Well, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe you got him back there without making it worse." Yeah. Like, that's crazy. And also, like, Gael, like, kneels down, and Farron's like, of course he's asking for permission. Of course that's what he's doing. Like, of course. Which is crazy. And he says, like, Farron's like, follow me. And he's like, anywhere, always. And Reeve wakes up. He's like, what did you do? Like, I don't understand. Like, what is going on? And this is where Farron's like, well, Gael's teaching me this magic. Like, what would you have done? Reeve, what would you have done in this moment? Like, I really need you to tell me. Like, and Reeve's like, can't answer that for you. Sorry. And that sits with her.
Yeah. I think that's what's interesting with this book is that how we talked about relationships are complicated and the decisions that are being made. Like, not everything is black and white. Some of the reasoning is black and white. Like, no questions asked. I don't know how or why. Not even why, but like how I'll save my sister, but it's going to happen. Don't care. And so there's a lot of gray area in decisions. And I feel like that's always the case. I mean, you and I, outside of this book, we've talked about with like different artists and different albums where people are so quick to judge if one person's decision and how they chose the trajectory of their life or their relationship. But we've also said it's so easy to be quick and judgmental until you're actually in that situation. And I feel like this book does a really good job at painting that too.
It really does. It's so good. We're getting pretty close here. Okay. Sydney and Alara Sydney overhears conversations, drags Alara into it. Everybody ends up getting to go see her dad in prison. And this is where we get the riddle about the Grey Saint prophecy, like the fool and the wise, all dragons riders, the land will crack open. Gael Soto, what is this about? The commander this is the story, like the commander Warwick turned to different gods to save Reeve. And this is where, he even asked the queen, he asked the Empyrean to help him and they didn't. Then the commander burned a Santi alive and then put her ashes in the relic that Reeve wears. And that called out to Gael, the Gray Saint, and the wealth and the power is what the bargain was. Like, save my son, he will be your vessel. Give me wealth and power to conquer the world. And that
can you imagine giving up your kid because you're just so power hungry?
No, it's just so crazy. And like, that's the relic that Reeve wears. So every time he uses it, the Gray Saint will get stronger, but Reeve doesn't really use it because he's ashamed of his language, like heritage. So what we end up getting from this, essentially from the dad in prison, is like, everyone's going to die if this dragon is freed. And like, the stronger that the Gray Saint grows, like, I mean, the Fury's going to take everybody out. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like,
and he grows more because of the proximity Reeve is to Farron. So yep. Farron and Reeve weren't like they're with each other every day now. And they actually have like some sort of like not romantic relationship, but a relationship, a platonic relationship ish. I don't know. There's a lot of gray area, but this also makes sense why it didn't manifest earlier, because she didn't hang out with Reeve. That was her sister's thing.
Alara is taken by the Fury. Out she goes. The Fury. Out she goes. Out she goes. Farron is controlling souls. Easy. No problem. Not nothing. She realizes then that the entrance to the empty is in Dead Egg. And she's like, I'm going to use this power for good. Like, all is good. Alana in the Fury arrives and she's like, well, all right. What can we do about this? Meanwhile, Farron has like, you are the only person who can destroy the first dragon and save Gael. You can save the dragons. Like, come on, Farron, you're the key. Like, the power of the gods is the only thing that can open the door and like save us. Like, I'm the child Empyrean. I can do anything is what Farron has in her head. Like, I can save my sister. I can do this. Like, everything will be fine. I can control these souls. And she does. So Alara wakes up after the Fury. Like, Sydney's there, of course. Like, she's guarded. Zephyr is guarded. The queen is coming because they're all in Rose Tree Manor, which neutralizes magic and neutralizes communication. So there's like no communication happening there. And this is where Farron meets the queen, and the queen is like, yo, I need you to stay on this goddamn island. I am going to another fucking peace talk. I need you to stay on this goddamn island and protect it. Will you just do that for me?
It's like, just don't move. Don't move.
It's like, just please, will you just do that? And she's like, yeah, no bet. I will totally not fuck that up. I will not fuck that up. Yeah, no, totally. She fucks that up. Farron, tricks some Drake pilots, who end up dying later. This is why it's in here, so that we're connected when they die later. We're like, but she tricks these 3 Drake pilots who are from Dead Egg too, and one of them was her bully, Jordan, to take her back to Dead Egg because she's like, yeah, I want to say bye to my mom and stuff. Like, I just want to like be in my hometown. Like,
This is the part where one of them was like, I've known you your whole life. I'm onto your
full
shit.
Of shit. Yeah. Jordan, her bully, she's on a full of shit. And she's like, you know what? Fuck you. And they take her back to Dead Egg, and she's like, all right. And she goes straight to the Dead Egg, and she's like, okay, all right, Obi, let's go. She calls the gods. She cracks that fucking egg open. Here's the thing. She does the thing. She cracks that egg open, and that dragon arises. Hot damn. He's huge. He's white. His name is Lightbringer.
He has a tail that flames with multiple different colors.
Yep. And he traps Farron's soul. Because Farron is like, I can control you. And Lightbringer is like, what?
He's like, nobody can control him, honestly.
Yeah, you thought. Alara's bond, meanwhile, has been broken to Zephyra, and they're trying to escape from the manor, but she's fallen off her dragon. She's like doing all sorts of things, and that bond's broke. She can't understand Sydney. Like things are going on.
She's like, you have to speak the language we all know.
Yep. And right before this, they just had like a love confession, and like it was very sweet, but shit's happening now. Like all of it is happening.
Yeah, they didn't kiss yet. They have a quick kiss.
Yeah. So it's
everybody's getting kissed because it's the end of the world in this moment.
Yeah.
In these upcoming moments, I guess you could say.
Farron now has perfect balance. She can't use her astral. She can't call the gods. Lightbringer and Valor are being attacked. This is when Valor ends up being destroyed.
He like falls and explodes. That's how it's described.
Mm-hmm. This is where we have the idea that Farron is in love with Reeve, and this is where we have the idea of Aya, right?
Yes.
Will be the saint of ashes, the god of the remains. Like, it's...
Well, we go back to that whole vessel possession because Gael possesses Reeve's body, and this is where Farron is like, shit, never told him I loved him. I had all these times and I didn't. But then she also goes into like that, we know about the soul connection, and she still sees, because she's also connected to Lightbringer, who's connected to Gael, who's in Reeve's body, that Reeve's soul is still in there faintly, but it's still there. But you have Gael, who is like the first Empyrean person who is trying to be the rider who controlled Lightbringer, the first dragon, and together they were known as Aya. And now that Farron is into the fold, Gael is like, now we are all Aya.
Yeah, now we are all Aya. So now and this is, Farron understands the bargain. She understands the possession. She understands everything. She's like, you wanted me to start the war. I was just like a tool into all of this. Like, fuck, my sister, and I was like, your useless sister was just a hostage. We all knew that you would do anything for her, and you would come to us when the gods told you to do this. We all knew this. We all knew it. I'm just like too powerful. Like, hey, but then all of these dragons start coming, and this is like, shit, what is going on? Shit. But this is Irontooth and the Den coming with Alara to come and see like what is going on. And here is where we have just shit going on.
Well, this is the part also, I think, where Alara was like, oh my gosh, because she was also confused about who all these people were. And she realized it was the Den that she worked with. And also her thinking to herself, I'm so glad I didn't turn on any of these people. I can't believe they're here for me. Because flash backward to earlier in the book where she just kept saying, like, I am so lonely. I'm so isolated. I'm so bullied that I have professors who have to walk me class to class. Like, this is so isolating. And Zephyra, her dragon, was like, I'm here. And, she's still getting acquainted with this bond that she wasn't aware she was going to have. And she's like, well, not you. She's kind of she was isolating and pushing herself away and being bullied at the same time. It was just like a lot of back and forth. So to have these people who kind of had her back, it was like a huge moment for her.
It was a lot. It was like a found family of a show not tell, which was like just so lovely. It's good. It's good. But the Den comes, and Alara and the Queen are off, right? They're off fighting in nobility, and Alara's dragon. They're attacking. They're saving. They're, what is going on? Alara and Sydney are kissing. And Alara is dropping into the ocean. We are learning that Lightbringer created the Fury. Farron is calming dragons and telling Alana to go to the fucking temple and talk to the goddamn gods, because I fucked up and something has to go on. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know what was going on. I'm sorry. Alana, you're our only hope now. You have got to save us.
She gets in big sister mode.
Yeah, and Alana is like, okay. all right. And Farron and Sydney are working together to calm the fury, which I thought was really good. Meanwhile, Aveline is like using all of her like power. Like she's fighting. Like she's like lifting up in the air and like knifing Lightbringer. Like she's badass.
Do you want to see
yeah, that'd be rad.
You want to see it, right?
Yeah.
I was just like trying to imagine this. I was like, this would be so cool. I need, someone in development, like TV and movie development, to pick up this.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Especially like from here out, I would just love to see it, because then Alana goes to the temple and she calls the gods, and Alana is like struck speechless with like revenants of their like divinity in the beginning. And then at the end, she's like, fuck you guys. Wait, are you fucking serious? You told my sister to kill me? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
And she picks up on it because they're telling her, you need to kill Farron. And she was like, hold up. You told her she had to kill me, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this all makes sense. And this is, again, another person who calls them out on she was like, of course she resented you. She was 12. Of course she hated you. You did this. Like, what did you expect?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, this is where we get the full history. So the Aya and his generals became the Languish Empire, and then the generals wanted to overthrow Aya, so they Aya learned about it and wanted to overthrow them, so he opened up the Empty to push all the generals into the Empty, but they ended up pushing him and sealed him away.
Lightbringer. No, because he would Lightbringer. Yeah.
Lightbringer and Gael were sealed away, and then the generals became the Languish Empire. So then all dragons, are controlled by Lightbringer, and like all bonds are with Gael. So if you kill everybody, all the kill them all. And I like the gods too, because the gods are like, oh, fuck us? Fuck us. You sound just like your sister. Well, no wonder. You're like absolutely related to her. And this is where Alana's like, no, you thought I am the eldest sister. So let's make a deal, you assholes. Let's go. And by the way, I'm not a child.
I loved it. I knew you would too.
Maiden Empyrean. Let's go. I loved that. She's like, make me an Empyrean. I will save everybody. I'm not fucking killing anybody. Trust me. Let's go.
She still said, I'm not killing my sister.
Yep. And she's like, Maiden Empyrean. That is me. It is what it is. It is what it is. I love it. I love it. This is the end. Farron tries to manipulate Aya a little bit and being like, what do you really want? Do you want like freedom? You want power? Like, is Reeve really in there? Can I do you hear me? Do you hear me? And Aya's like, stop it right now. No.
He's dead. Don't they say he's dead?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't think so.
Yep. He's like, you know what? Like, his residual love is the only reason I'm keeping this vessel alive and you alive. So like, shut the fuck up. Like, no. Meanwhile, the queen is winning. We love it. Gael is like, I'm your salvation. Like, let's go. Like, let's have freedom together. And it's like, no. What are you on about? Let's have a little distraction. Let's have a little chat going on, because here comes Alara. Bam! Bless him with the power. Let Farron go. I am the Maiden Empyrean. I'll send you to the fucking Empty. Fucking try me. Let's go. You think I won't?
And it ends like that. Like, you're just left.
Yeah. It's like, Aya's like, you've never known freedom. Like, you're nothing without me. And Farron's like, you're nothing without me. Like, shut the fuck up. We're all each other, obviously. But Alara is like blasting, and she's like, I will lock you up. I won't stop. I will do anything. And it's like, anything. And this is where Farron sees her sister, sees Aya, and is like, fuck. All right. Aya wants me to fuck off. I want to save the world with my sister. But if I fuck off with Aya, I can like worm my way in and like learn his weaknesses. And that is a spy. And that is something that I couldn't do
before. Mm-hmm. But I love that. I mean, it's exactly what ACOFAE spoiler Feyre does. Mm-hmm. Like, it's exactly what she does. We talk about it again, I'm not well versed in the Star Wars, but you always talk about that with Kylo and Rey all the time. You're like, say yes and work from the inside. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that hard. And that's what Farron's going to do. She's going to do, not only does she do the thing, which you love, but then she's going to do the thing that you love.
Go rule the world with the evil guy, learn all the ways, and then just like fix him or corrupt it or bring him down from the inside. We love it. We love it. We love it. That's how the book ends. The book ends with Farron flying off with Aya. And
the last line says, instead, all Farron saw on Alara's face was open heartbreak before the clouds swallowed them up.
Bam! That's the end.
That's
it's
it. Next
so
page.
Good.
Acknowledgements. That was it.
Yep. I think it's no surprise that we absolutely love this book. It is phenomenal. I would love if more people would read this book. Jess, do you have a favorite moment here?
I don't know if I have a favorite moment. I was going to ask your favorite character.
Ooh, my favorite character. Great question. Aveline.
Really?
Yeah. I like Aveline's story a lot. I like the responsibility that she has. I like that she's had to adapt and do all these things. I like that she
stepped up.
She stepped up. She can get down in the nitty gritty. She'll get dirty. She'll kill the people. She's got no fucking problem, but she'll play politics. She'll play hardball. I like it a lot. And she's trying to manage these like teenage girls that have all this power. Like, God damn it, just listen to me. I like it. I liked it a lot. Sense. Yeah. What about you?
I was going to say, I don't know why I'm thinking Avalar. Why am I forgetting? I'm drawing a blank on her name. Hold on. Alara.
Yeah. Alara.
I don't know where I got Avalar stuck in my head. I think Alara, I think it's just like that big sister. Like, she just constantly wants to step in, see how she can figure it out and try to do all the things where you kind of get to the point where you're spreading yourself thin a little bit. But that's how it was. She was relatable for me. And then she still defends everybody. She's like, yeah, that's my sister. Maybe she fucked up, but that's on you too. And holding other people accountable for that too. I really liked Alara.
I say friends to nothing again because Reeve is possessed by Gael, who does not love her.
They do kiss. They do kiss. But like, I feel like that again, like it's not even a main plot. The romance in both of this isn't a main. It's a little addition to the story, but you take it out, and this is like the romance doesn't need to be there either. It's a good story. I'm excited for the second one. But that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks so much, and we can't wait to hear from y'all. Bye.
Bye.